Hello YouTube and welcome to this recorded game of Age of Empires 3 Definitive Edition. I'll just turn off the view lock. There we go. Between myself and a guy called Billy. I was playing as the Germans. I was going to try something a little bit different today to what I normally do. I'm normally the typical German bot who will, semi-FF everything. But today I wanted to try something different. So I went onto the ESOP forums and I had a look at an old strategy from Kaiserklein, which was a mercenary strat. If I just switch to myself here and I show you the deck that I'm going to use for this game. Le Mercs, lol. This is the deck. So you can see my usual deck. My usual deck is a pretty standard deck. And the Le Mercs deck has this card in, Palatine Settlements. It has this card in, Improved Mercenaries. And it has the Almeti in Age 4. So the strat really revolves around getting to Age 3, putting down a saloon, and maybe getting out some early outlaws and see what happens really. It's basically based around this card here, the Improved Mercenaries card, which gives you, as you can see here, plus 20% hit points, plus 20% damage, and it's just all around a really good card. Remember that scales off the mercenary stats, which are incredibly high. Obviously that's the point of mercenaries. They're very expensive, but they're very strong. So normally, to this card, for example, the standard cavalry hit points card, you will be scaling off, 15% on, I can't remember how many hit points an Ulan has, 180 or 190, but basically you're scaling 15% off that, which is just under 30 HP. You get this card here, and you're scaling 20% off an Almeti, for example, which has, I think, 1,000 hit points, so you're getting 200 extra instead of for a standard card here, which will be, a lot less than that. So that's basically what it's based on. It's around getting to Age 3, and then seeing what you can do with the mercenaries. As you can see, if I just take that off, I've sent the 2 settler wagons first. Incredibly strong card. The only card I've got in Age 1. You can see I've now selected my deck, and I am going for the mercs. Just going around and get some treasures at this point. Trying to get some food treasures, because one of the things with the Germans is that it's sometimes difficult to go up with the preferred 17 or 18 villager age up and not idle. So I've also got the cows here, so they will probably help as well. Just have a look at what my opponent's doing. I'm not actually sure what his ELO was. I'll just turn off friend 4 colours so we say the same. Yeah, that's the one. So he's blue and I'm red. Let's take a look at his deck. Looks like he's gone for VC boom. He's gone water. Oh, wait, he's not gone full water, but he's gone caravel and frigate, which seems to be a bit of a waste, given that Germany's never really going to contest the water. I mean, particularly given the deck that I chose. He went trading post first, so he would have been able to see my deck, while I saw his. If I just speed it up a little bit. See, it's a pretty standard Age 1 from me. I'm going to now get that trading post down. So I'm macroing towards the trading post. I'm also going to get in place of mines because coin for mercenaries. Obviously mercenaries cost coin. So, that's an important thing to get for the Germans at this stage. So yeah, fairly standard Age 1 from me at this point. Shame I missed that pass. Hopefully we'll get the next one. So at this point I'm looking to get 125 wood, because that will allow me to get the steel traps upgrade. So now all villagers should be coming off wood and going on to food. If I just speed it up a little bit. See, we've already got that shipment in queue. We age up with a 400 wood, obviously. It's very rare when you won't age up with a 400 wood, particularly as Germany. So we pick up that 400 wood. Palatine Settlements comes in. We put down the Ratskeller, it's called in this case. Put down a couple of houses, which are going to be worth a lot more. Because this increases the population cap of a house by 20. So a house is worth 30 population. actually idled a little bit here, which isn't good. Should be building a settler. This is why I'm not the best player in the world. Now, I'm not sure if it's actually possible for me to show you what I was able to get from this saloon, but it wasn't a good selection. It was a dragoon or cavalry archer type unit, and it was also a running type melee unit, which isn't the best. So, you know, the thing with the saloon is it is random, so it's completely random which type of unit that you will get. On this occasion I wasn't very lucky, so I wasn't feeling very hopeful about this strategy at this point in the game, to be honest. I mean, if we look, I've got 14 villagers, and how many settler wagons do I have? At this stage, 5, so I'm on 19 villagers. My opponent is on 24. He's building 5 pikes because he's preempting my Ulans, which, you know, is a pretty good play from him. Seeing as they are heading towards his base, just going to pick up this 80 wood treasure. He's idling as well at this point. Sending in the coin, which means that maybe he's going to be going to H3 as well. But has he sent? Yeah, he's sent VC at this point, Virginia Company. So he's, you know, he's got enough wood here to be building almost 5 houses. He's chasing off my Ulans with his pikes. At this stage, I'm getting in steel traps. I should be building another settler. I've idled a little bit too much here, which isn't ideal. But obviously, I'm macroing towards the H3. You can see the 3 settler wagons coming in after the Palatine settlements to boost the economy a bit. It's obviously the equivalent of a 6 settler card, with settler wagons being worth 2 villages each. So my economy at this point is worth probably roughly just probably the same as the Brit now, but the Brit can obviously scale his economy a lot more off the fact, you know, he's got like 9 more manors that he can build. I'll just speed up a little bit until H3 because nothing really happens until then. In fact, up here we've got some Ulans being caught by the pikes, which isn't ideal. And we've got my explorer going up to possibly take this TP because shipments are really important. Although I probably should have just taken this one. But yeah, with mercenaries, shipments are incredibly important because you want to get out as many of those strong shipments as you can, particularly with the Germans. You know, they've got 9 Black Riders, they've got 12 Jaegers. So I was maybe thinking about taking this one to sort of remove the opportunity for him to take it, but I should have probably gone for this one instead. And then you've always got the option of a stagecoach as well, but I obviously opted not to do that. At this stage is called, I didn't actually clock that he'd done this during the game. He's called Minuteman. I'm not sure why he's done that because the only units that I have are Ulans. I've only got 4. And he has what looks like about 10, 11 pikes. So I'm not sure why he's done that. Maybe that's a mistake. You can see now that I'm not macroing the best here. It's the first time I've tried this strategy. Really, I would be in a lot better position if I had 800 coin and 400 food, but that's the way that it fell. Obviously now I've realised that that's the case, and I'm shifting over most of my villagers onto coin. You can't see it here, but what I can tell you about this saloon is that the H3 units were really bad. The H4 units pretty good. There was the Italian Elmetti horsemen. These are just the H2 outlaws, so you can see the H3 units weren't the best, so I actually went for the H2 ones. These are like dragoon type units. So my thought was, you know, I get these, sorry, cavalry archer type units. I think I accidentally, yeah, queued the run in there. So if I get some of these anti-cav out, then I can get some Jaegers from the shipment. I'm sending in advanced mercs first, which is the reason I did that is because I didn't have enough coin for the Jaegers at this point, and I wasn't receiving any pressure and didn't think that I would be, so I thought I would be safe to do that. So I send that first, and then the hope is after that to get the trading post here, get more shipments in, and get those Jaegers out. So then you've got the kind of almost the classic skirm goon combo with the cavalry archers and the Jaegers, but obviously just a little mercenary twist on it. But at this point, I'm receiving no pressure. To be honest, he's not receiving any real pressure either. Usually once you've let a Brit boom like this, it's maybe game over, you know. Maybe he could have boomed even stronger than he did. He's still only on 180 mana pop. Arguably at this point should have been on, you know, 4 manas, and, you know, the game should have been his. He's on 41 villages. I'm on 24. I don't know how many settler wagons I have. 8. So I'm on 32 villages and he's on 41. At this stage, I'm just getting out the Woku horsemen, which are really strong against cavalry actually, and quite strong against artillery as well. They've got 36 damage against heavy cavalry or hand cavalry, but their rate of fire as well is 1.5, which essentially doubles their attack compared to a standard unit because it's twice as quick. But really, I didn't play this too well. I mean, I'm sat here doing nothing at this point, just waiting for that Jaeger shipment to come in. And really, we're at 10 minutes, and neither player has really done anything at this stage. You can see I'm trying to get some raids in, but it's difficult because all of his villages are under his town centre. You can see there's none really around the map, and he's I'm not even sure where they've come from. Are they from a card? The Tomahawks? Let's just check that. I'm not sure where they've come from. Where's he got those from? Because if somebody's watching this, and I doubt it'll get many views, but if somebody's watching this and they know where these Tomahawks have come from, can they please tell me? Because he hasn't taken a native trading post and he hasn't got them in deck, so I am at a loss. As you can see, I suicide accidentally all of my Ulans there. Where have those Tomahawks come from? I'm at a loss. He's got 7. Why didn't I show any Tomahawk? No, I really don't know where they've come from. Yeah, if somebody in the comments could tell me where they've come from, that would be great, because I have no idea. But anyway, if we go back to my point of view, the game at this point is really starting to heat up. You can see over here, I got the Napoleon guns as an H3 unit, which are 500 coin, and they're a lot weaker than a falconet, which makes them significantly worse than a falconet, seeing as though they're the same resources but not as good. I do obviously have the advanced or improved mercenaries card, which should affect them, although I'm not sure actually if that card affects things out of the saloon. We'll find out in a second. But you can see I do have these Jaegers, 36 ranged attack on these Jaegers and 300 HP thanks to the improved mercenaries card. So these guys are really strong. The only problem is that I can't train them out of here, which is really quite annoying. If I could train these guys, it would have been much easier. But as we can see now, we're getting into a fight, and I kind of didn't realise that he was pushing me, so it was a bad time for me to go forward. I'm killing one of these guys with 12 Jaegers, which is the definition of overkill. One native scout has gone down for 12 Jaegers. So my micro here, not the best. I did get a bit of a shock. I didn't expect him to be pushing, but now I realise that I can push out with the Napoleon guns, which do, by the way, look like they have been affected by the improved mercenaries card. So these guys, they're probably still not as strong as falconets. Can't remember falconet stats off the top of my head, but I doubt that these are as good. The range resist is only 0.5 instead of 0.75, so they're going to die a lot easier. But no, they're still decent units, particularly with the card, but it would have been better to have Jaegers in there instead. I mean, it's a bit of a mean build at this point, really. 12 Jaegers and 4 Woku horsemen. I'm on 31 villages, equivalent of about 40. He's on 46. I mean, again, his economy should have been stronger at this point. He's playing as the Brits. It's a VC boom, and he still hasn't maxed out all of his manners. So, just swap that again. Sorry about the colours keep changing. That's my fault. I do actually queue to Woku Runnings here by accident, which are a little bit like pikes, but slower and stronger. And I did that by accident. A pretty useless unit in this fight, given that he has no cavalry. Still has these tomahawks. Can Brits train these now? Is that a thing? That's new. That's really new. Why isn't he just training musketeers? Someone needs to tell me where these tomahawks have come from, because I don't have a clue. He's got his pikes in cover mode by the looks of it. Or some kind of mode. I'm not really sure why he's done that. But back at my base, we now have the Black Riders coming in, so we have the classic Skirm Goon combo, and these Black Riders are going to be so strong. Their stats are so high to scale off. 624 HP. It's a shame that their resist is melee. 48 ranged attack, and he does start to build some cav at this point as well, which is going to play into the hands of the Black Riders, because they do 48 times 2.5. What's that? 96. It's about 130 damage that they're going to do to the Huss. I almost get caught there. The trees, I mean the path around trees is so bad, man. The Napoleon gun's just, you know, going around the houses instead of engaging. Should be shooting at this point. The Jaeger's taken a few of the pikes. Now we get the Napoleon guns and we're going to lose one here, which isn't ideal. And look at them again, just walking around instead of shooting. But this at this stage is looking like a really good engagement for me. These mercs are so strong. You know, they're just going to tear through these units, even though his economy at this point is a little stronger. He takes down the cannons, but at what cost? You know, he's lost all of his pikes. He's losing quite a lot of these longbows, although the longbows do fare very well against the Black Riders. And at this stage, to be fair, it's probably looking in his favour, but he knows that if those husks are anywhere near those Jaegers, then the Black Riders are going to maybe three-shot them. You can see there that you know, they don't last more than a couple of seconds. And he's not microing the best either, you know, he's just kind of just trickling them in, which makes it pretty easy for me to pick them off. And you can see somehow I actually seem to come out on top here, and you know, looking at my macro again, I remember looking at my macro at this point and thinking, yeah, that's really bad. 2k coin, but what that does allow me is to trade it for food, which allows me to go to age 4, which allows me to get the Almeti, which is what is going to happen next. And to be fair, he has a lot of dragoons, so you know, perhaps not the best plan for me to do at this stage. The war wagons come in and they do tank quite a lot of damage. Again, they don't have range resist, which is, you know, a little bit annoying. Maybe they should get a card like Sweden. I mean, that would be ridiculous, but it's ridiculous for Sweden anyway, so, you know. At this point, I'm possibly pushing forward with too few units. You know, his mass at this point is you know, as small as mine, though, to be fair. I mean, I have 20 islands at this point, which isn't ideal. And there we go, I'm swapping all of that coin for food so I can get up to the 4th stage and get those Almetis and really start, you know, pushing in. He seems to have settled on his combo of longbow goons, so if I can get rid of those goons and I can get the Almeti on top of the longbows, then that could be game over.
Aufgabe?
These guys were idle for far too long. Just heading up towards this mine here. Perhaps not the best idea if I look at the... What's his line of sight at this point? Yes, we can see that mine, so this wasn't the best idea. If I just speed up a little bit, there's a little bit of a lull in the game at this point, so if I speed it up...
Yeah.
I'll trade in some Ulans just to beef up the army a little bit. And really at this point we're just waiting to get to age 4. He's still age 3 and I don't think he's going up. He is not, he's not even close to going up. So we get rid of this mana to take the line of sight away from that. If we speed up again, because we're just waiting to get to age 4, as I say. This 5,000 coin gold mine really didn't work for us at this point. With this strategy, with mercenaries being so coin heavy. And there we go up to the 4th age, and we immediately send in the Almeti. What we probably should have done at this point is gotten cavalry cuirass to give them even more HP. But we, you know, we're new to this strat. We're not like locked in with the all improvements and stuff that we need as we would be with one of the more, you know, normal strategies, maybe a semi-FF with Ulans or whatever. So it's a bit of a learning curve, but that's one we'll definitely do in future, because when you start scaling off these mercenary stats, you know, it's quite ludicrous how good they get, to be honest. Start taking out his villages at this point. Obviously we had line of sight on this mine because of the stable. He's probably going to get the Ulans, but you know, they're only age 2 Ulans. We're not particularly bothered about them at this point. We just we try and get a win. You know, I mean, that's really bad play from me. I was probably too focused on this, but we see down here now these guys come in with 1200 HP. You can see to these longbows that they're going to one-shot them, I think. Yeah, comfortably going to one-shot them. They're doing 144 damage. They're basically like a Spanish Lancer on steroids. But unfortunately, this isn't the best play from us because we haven't got enough anti-range cav to get rid of the Dragoons, and the Almetis are going to melt to the Dragoons. Again, at this point, this is quite bad play from me. I'm not making the most of these units. What I do know is that if I can get rid of these Almeti, then the longbows are going to go down so easily. But we have the 4 there. We have 5 just come out of the saloon. But our force at this point is dwindled so much because we've not been taking good fights. It's actually not looking that good. We really need to get rid of these Dragoons. We've got 5 more reinforcing here, which is bad news. And at this point, we really just have to retreat. It's one thing having the units on the field. It's another doing the best work with them, and that's not what we did there. If we'd waited and we'd got a few more skirms, if we'd been able to produce Jaegers out of the saloon, then that fight would have been, you know, comfortably in our favour. I mean, at this point, he is running out of places to put his villages. I mean, you can see there's a group coming down here. Presumably, doesn't have line of sight. So he doesn't know what he's headed into there. He's losing a few here. He's now losing a hell of a lot of longbows. They're getting one-shot by the Almeti. So he's really, at this point, the game kind of switches a little bit because he's lost his longbow mass, or most of it anyway. Got some Mulans coming out. We've got a factory wagon, which hopefully, yes, I did see that. That's going to go back towards the rear of our base. We've got some settler on settler action. This game's got everything. Not that kind of action. I know what you're thinking. And over here, we obviously now both have line of sight on each other. You can see there I've got line of sight on him. Got line of sight on me, although actually you can't see the villages on this mine, actually, interestingly. So I can see all of his and he can't see all of mine, but actually now I've pulled them across because I can see this coming across. So we're going to get some villagers tanking. We're going to get these 2 kind of small armies, and do you know, he's really might put that quite badly. You know, he's got his longbows in the back. Have we both got great coats? We do both have great coats. So I'm accidentally making a double sold now. And now this is really where the game is going to be won. We have the villagers coming across, they're tanking. But because the settler wagons have so much health and the Dragoons have such a negative multiplier against them, they're tanking so much, he should really be focusing down my units. You know, he's brought in the 2 folks, but he's just wasting them because they're going to get killed by the settlers. They can just melee them. You see one going down and now Meti's getting involved. It's really a bit of a mess, this, to be honest. So if you're used to watching the high-level gameplay, then you know this will look a mess, and it looks a mess to me. But I was playing a funky strat, and you know, at this point I've pulled it off. So I mean, again, my macro is terrible. It really wasn't the best game for me. I would go as far to say that this was a really bad game for me, in fact, because when you're playing a new strat, everything's just confusing. And he calls the GG because he's lost all of his villagers, and somehow I've ended up with, you know, 13 out of 20, and he's lost about 20. I've lost about 7. But yeah, I just wanted to make this video because it was a funky strat. It was only the 2nd time I've tried it. It was on the ladder as well, by the way, so this guy must have been a similar ELO without knowing what it was off the top of my head. But yeah, German mercenaries, you can make them work. It probably will only work against civilizations that don't come at you quickly. You know, the British, you can pretty safely assume that they're going to sit back and boom. So if you do come up against a civilization who you think is going to sit back, then this is maybe one you can try. You know, I might refine it. I might do it again. I think maybe getting more trade posts early would help because you need to rattle through the shipments, and you are of course very dependent on this building here and what you get out of it. But yeah, just an interesting one I thought I'd try and show you. So if you have watched this video, then thanks very much. Please do like, comment and subscribe. That would really help me. Thanks.